Hello Scorpio friends, I'm Annie Botticelli and welcome to my Scorpio November 2025 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. In this report, I'm going to go into the details of what life will be like for Scorpio in November. We've got birthdays, we've got a massive amount of Scorpio transits, including your new moon, and lots more to discuss. This is for you if Scorpio is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Scorpio placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Scorpio friends, so birthdays like November 15th through the rest of the sign. I suggest you additionally listen to my Sagittarius report, as you Scorpitarius friends on the cusp there will benefit from both readings. November brings us into a time that's free of the dramas of eclipse season. Those are now behind us. The new normal from the eclipse changes have come in. We are also in a time where we have more sweet aspects compared to salty ones, as I like to call the challenged aspects. So for the first time in a few months, we have a better profile of nice aspects. That's going to flavor the month. And of course, we've got Mercury retrograde, all kinds of things to discuss. One little admin note before we move forward. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm Annie Botticelli. I've been an astrologer for decades, and I've been teaching astrology for that long as well. I not only like to explain what you will likely see happen during the time that we're talking about, but also why, so that you're learning astrology at the same time. I'm going to give you lots of dates this month, more so even than usual. But if you want to have more information on the sweet and salty aspects, what you can do with them, and a detailed written report, go right now in another window on your device to anniehelpsyou.com and grab your free monthly star report with the sweet and salty dates for November. You will also get mini astrology lessons, access to my archives, and so much more there at anniehelpsyou.com. So do that now before you get wrapped up in what I'm talking about. And if you like what you hear, please subscribe and like. All right, so we're entering Scorpio season. Actually, we entered Scorpio season last month, but now we've got the sun, Mars for a little bit longer, Black Moon Lilith. Mercury starts out the month in Sag, but it will retrograde back into Scorpio. Then we've got, on November 19th, the Scorpio new moon at 28 degrees. So we've got a whole lot of Scorpio going on. Then also Venus, after the 7th, is going to join the Scorpio party. So this is a massive amount, more than usual at this one time, energy in Scorpio. So the mystery, the discovery, the transformation, the shedding of the skin, the rising of the phoenix from the ashes. This month is all about that level of transformation, that deep dive that Scorpio is so interested in, those emotional connections. We've got trines occurring with outer planet transits in Pisces, transiting North Node, Saturn, Neptune, ongoing with Scorpio. So in the longer term, there are blessings that are coming from these long-term transits. This is a time of really positive transformation for Scorpio. These are soft aspects, not like the difficult ones you've been through in recent years. Plus, you've got short-term Hygeia making a beautiful aspect to your placement, and Jupiter for a year making a trine. So this is a time when a lot of the difficult things you've gone through can now blossom into more ease. This is a time when your expansion can speak the language of your elements, because expansion can come to us through challenged and awkward angles, but we like it so much more when that expansion is coming to us through a language that we understand, the language of emotion that Scorpio speaks. So all of that is happening now. Your love life, your finances, all of your relationships are standing to move into Scorpio mode, into the depth, into the mystery. All of that's happening. The sun is highlighting all of this. Deep relationships, intimacy, sex, control, power, money. All of this is Scorpio goodness, and it is all happening now. And it's pushed through the lens of your physical body, your physical vitality, your recognition. The Scorpio planets in the Scorpio chart move through the first house of Aries. So that activates this physicality. Mars, your co-ruler, is the ruler of Aries, which is the placement where all of these things are occurring for you. So there's something that you need to move physically about. This is about your identity. This is about what you show the world. And you're having a rebirth. So that for those of you whose birthday is now, happy birthday. Make sure you use the power of your birthday wishes when the universe is more receptive to your wishes at that time. Because the sun in the sky represents desire. The sun in your chart represents desire. So when those two come together, there's a portal for wishing. That is very, very powerful. You can use this to transform your body, your physical body, your health, and your reputation. And you may just get your time in the sun during this transit. So it's really exciting. Now, we have a lot more to talk about for this month, but I want to tell you here early on that the whole month we're looking at through the lens of the retrograde. Okay, so we've got our retrograde glasses on, and they're a little googly-eyed right now because the retrograde is making things a little bit foggy. I'm calling the general theme for this time the lantern in the labyrinth. And of course, the Scorpio in the chart represents the labyrinth. But we've got a ton of Sag in the chart, which is the lantern. I will get to that part. So if there's any darkness, if there's any abyss, if there's anything that have gone deep with and you're trying to get out of, this Sagittarius lantern is going to come in and light everything up for you. If you are needing to get access to resources, Scorpio energy is going to be helpful to you. Bonuses, eighth house, other people's money, family money, all of this is coming through at this time. And some of these things may be things that you're owed from the past. Very, very, very big money month for Scorpio, not only because of the Scorpio placements ruling the eighth house, which is the other people's money, energy, family money, spousal money, government money, any other resources, loans, credit, debt, all of that is lit up like crazy. Lots of opportunities there. But also when all the Sagittarius placements are moving through, that's in your second house of your earned income. So this is, a very, very, very big money month for Scorpio. Mars will get to Sag early in the month. Mercury already starts out in Sag. Juno, Vesta, Estrella, already in Sagittarius. The sun gets there, after the third week. So all of these placements are bringing attention and motivation. Mars is bringing oomph. And I will definitely say that this is a month of the zealot. Of the signs, two of the most zealous signs are Scorpio and Sagittarius for different reasons and in different ways and different qualities. But zealotry nonetheless is amplified at this time. So anything you're going to do to the nth degree. Anything that you're going to expand into from the Sagittarius energies, you're going to do that big. Anything you're going to dive into from the Scorpio energies, you're going to do that deeply. And this is what's happening. There's this magical combination of depth from Scorpio and breadth from Sag, of focusing in and honing in on very specific details, but at the same time looking at everything from a bird's eye view. So it's a very unique energy. It's an energy with water and fire making steam, which can be romantic steam. This can be productive steam. Think about a steam engine. And very, very, very hot. And think about steam burns. Okay, so just be careful with this energy. It's very, very powerful. As I said before, we have more sweet aspects this month, so it's going to flavor the month compared to the last couple of months that we had a bad ratio of sweet to salty aspects. So you'll be feeling that. You'll be feeling the relief from being out of eclipse season. You'll be feeling the relief from having a lot of these planets speaking your language. And then we've got the retrograde. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into this and give you some dates. I told you I was going to give you a lot of dates. If you have a calendar to write down, you may want to write these down, or you may want to come back and listen again later. I also do have these dates written down in the written format at anniehelpsyou.com. When you grab your free star report there, they are all written down if you don't want to have to write them. But here they are. October 21st, pre-shadow transit happens for Mercury. This is going to be very important, so just stick with me while I go through this, because I promise you will very likely learn something that you will hold with you for your whole life and understand retrogrades even better, not just this month, okay? October 21st is the pre-transit shadow retrograde. Then we've got November 9th is when we have the actual retrograde. We've got November 29th is when it goes direct. And December 17th is when we're clear from the post-shadow transit. So I'm going to walk you through an analogy that I like to use for Mercury retrograde and the pre-shadow transit. This is going to be like if you are going full speed with other traffic, flowing with the traffic, and you realize, oh, I need to make a U-turn. So the time where you're very awkwardly moving through lanes, going through rushing traffic as you're slowing down, is that pre-retrograde shadow. So October 21st through November 9th, you are trying to get over and nobody is letting you do it. And you can't catch a break. You're just trying to get over, to get to the median so you can make a U-turn, okay? That is that whole pre-transit part. Now, getting to the median is the days around the 9th. The awkwardness of making sure the front of your car isn't pointing out too far into traffic and the back of your car isn't leaning too far into where you just came from. Awkward, extra awkward in the days around the 9th, right? So be extra careful there, extra issues happening at that time. Then the whole time you're sitting in the median with traffic passing on both sides of you and you can't seem to get a break into the flow again, that is November 9th through the 29th. And then in the days around the 29th, you now finally have your break to break free of the median, but you're running into awkwardness and danger when the flowing traffic is coming and you have to get there and get up to speed as quickly as possible. That process of getting back up to speed from November 29th through December 17th is you getting back into the flow of traffic, getting back to the speed you were at before. Okay, so you'll be feeling that. Now, some of these pieces of this analogy may make you feel like, oh, everything's going to be awkward and terrible this month. It's all about that. That is one layer that you will notice. If you're trying to push things forward, you will be stuck on the median. If you listen to your favorite podcast, maybe you're listening to me while you're in the median, right? So if you can know that you're not going to be going anywhere very fast and you lean into that, this can be a completely different experience compared to you're trying to get things done. If you know you're not going to catch your break to get back into the flow of traffic for a few weeks here, then you can relax into it, which is why I like to tell you about this stuff beforehand and why astrology is helpful. Because now you know that that's what it's going to be like and you can adjust your behavior according to the natural rhythms and you can align with them, all right? So this is a month for experimentation. This is a month for discovery. Sagittarius likes to get its fingers in a lot of pudding pies, and you will be noticing diversification occurring this month. A lot of that diversification may be occurring in your finances. Maybe you're making money from here, over there. You may have some ideas of different gigs you can do on the side. If you need a job, your best results may come from one, going back to the past, a past job or a past employer or a past type of work. Two, getting a couple of short-time gigs or short-term gigs, part-time gigs until you can get a full-time gig. Those energies are amazing this month. For your creative efforts, you may find the same thing. You may be jumping back and forth between your interests. This is a huge month for learning, teaching, expanding horizons. If there's something you've wanted to study, you may find you are the zealot at this time and diving into it. And you may also find that you're taking a bunch of different courses because the Sag energy is making you diversify with your interests. But then you might be diving deeper, Scorpio, into the ones that you're most passionate about right now. You can go through a massive amount of material, both taking it in and putting it out. So creating content, creating information, creating prolific artistic expression. For the long term, your artistic ventures section of your chart is really aligned. So those art projects, those leadership projects, athleticism, fashion, whatever puts your stuff out there, however you express your talents, that is lit up in the long term. And now with the Sag energy, you might find that you're like jumping back and forth between the things you're excited about. Remember the Mercury retrograde glasses if you have to do something important. If you need to have like a contract or something done, or you're trying to make a purchase, really look at those details. This isn't a time to just click yes to reading the terms. This is a time to actually read the terms and understand and ask questions, especially if you're making a big purchase or a big sale as may be occurring. Now, in the long term, Scorpio energy is really, really into learning and expanding horizons because Jupiter is there in this house of Sagittarius in the sign of Cancer for a year. And that's making a trine for you, as I mentioned earlier, which is the best aspect in astrology. But this month on the 11th, Jupiter is going to go retrograde. So expansion that you have been putting forth with immigration, different cultures, different countries, different languages, international business, teaching, learning, you may dial it back. Now, either you were getting so busy that you're avoiding some of your studies, the Jupiter retrograde can make you dive back into them. Or if you were expanding them very quickly, you may find that you're dialing back for a break now. But whatever it is, don't get nervous. Jupiter builds skyscrapers. And underneath a skyscraper is a gaping chasm that they dug to build the foundation of that skyscraper. When Jupiter goes in retrograde, it's checking to make sure that the strength of that foundation is enough to support this future skyscraper growth. All right. So if you see something stalling out, not just from the Mercury retrograde, but from this Jupiter retrograde, don't be concerned. Just know that Jupiter is doing its checks and balances. And since there is a lot of Sag energy, which Jupiter rules Sag, even as Jupiter goes retrograde, you still have that buoyancy and that optimism from all of these transits. So it's kind of a good time to have that transition. All right, let's talk about some more dates and things going on. November 5th, we've got that full super moon in Taurus. We have 3 super moons in a row, October, November, December. Bam, moon is closer than usual. Gravitational effects are more profound than usual. May even look bigger in the sky than usual. And the pushing out from hidden places may be more amplified as well. Taurus, which is the ruler of the second house where all these Sag placements are moving for you, is where the full moon is happening through sign. All right, so there is something going on in your material sector, something coming to fruition. My husband's a Scorpio, so I'm looking forward to this because probably money will be coming in through him. Yay! Just in time for holidays, right? So look out for this. Look out for the money coming from the Scorpio transits to the 8th house. Look out for the money coming from the Sag placements to your second house, and look out for a big money showing in the days around the 5th from this full moon. Now, this is also opposing your sign, so this can be very intense. This is happening at 13 degrees in your relationship sector, opposing your first house of me in your house of we, as I like to call it. Fullness, completion, fruition, drama coming to something in relationship. Maybe something comes to light. Maybe something you've been working on with a partner occurs and is revealed. Maybe there's some drama. Maybe there's, something that's been undercover that comes out now to clear the air. But either way, it's very likely that something notable will occur at this time. Now, for those of you who are between 8 and 18 degrees or birthdays, like the last few days in October and the first week or so of November, the closer to like the first few days in November, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, something like that, you all may see the most noticeable thing from this, or even more drama, for better or worse, from this full moon, because it will connect in directly with your placement. But everybody else is not kept out of the potentials. It just may be more noticeable or more intense for you all in that group. So if you've got 8 to 18 degree Scorpio placements, closer to 13, the more intense, or end of October, first week or so of November. Let's talk a little bit more about the retrograde. Retrograde's happening through Sagittarius and back into Scorpio. This is going to make you question, make you reconsider stuff with your money, stuff with your big game plan, stuff with your close relationships and legal matters, wills, agreements that you have with people. You're going to be examining those closely. It's not necessarily the best time, if you can help it, unless it's in your flow or your intuition or it's out of your control, to make the permanent changes unless you feel strongly about that, or it's the only time it can happen, because this is, binding stuff that we're talking about, and this is a retrograde. So things might be reconsidered beyond this, and if you're doing something legally, sometimes it's not super easy to change that. But it is definitely a time to ask the questions, and then when you get to this point, like mid-December, where we talked about where you're now flowing back with the traffic, mid-December and on, it might be a little bit easier to make the decisions from the things that you researched and investigated and discovered during this month. This is great for experimenting, but you do have the tides going in. So with my tidal analogy, I always like to use, when Mercury retrograde is happening, the tides are coming in. So anything you try to put out in the tides will come back to you. That's great if you're running a promo. That's great if you're doing just something short term or something that doesn't matter as far as a long-term thing. But if you're trying to do something that you want the tides to cooperate, where the tides are going out, so that you push them out of the tides and they go out further and wider, you will be able to do that better as you get mid-month of December and on. Holiday shopping may be a little bit easier, more last minute, like into December, even into the middle of December, because trying to buy stuff in November is going to increase the chance that the wrong thing's sent, that it's broken, that the person doesn't like it. So if you're doing holiday shopping at this point, I'm personally going to be doing it before October 21st or more into December, just because it is a thing. It does increase the percentage time of having to return something, and it is a nuisance. If you've got to make appointments, just things like getting your teeth cleaned or things that are kind of in your control of when you schedule and have like a little period of time that they could be done in, trying to schedule things during this month is going to be kind of tough. You'll find you're rescheduling a lot of things. Anything that you plan during this time will likely get cast into doubt. It may actually work out still, but a lot of things get canceled, rescheduled, or turn out differently than expected at this time. Aligning with the natural rhythms at this time, if you want to do that, it's best to write things in pencil rather than pen for this month, and to tell people, give them a soft yes instead of a definite for your attendance for something. This way, if you have to change the plan, you don't feel as bad about canceling. Also expect other people will be canceling. So it's not going to be really easy to have people be reliable at this time. So if you know that going into it, you can plan for those type of contingencies. If you do have an important event planned for this month, do the backup plan. If you have an option to pay a little more for a backup plan, like a CFAR, like a cancel for any reason travel insurance policy, or, if you're doing a venue event and you have a choice to have a backup inside, if you're doing it outside, things like that may be really helpful at this time, because as things get shaky with not seeing how they're going to go, you might feel better, just having those contingencies set, knowing the variability of this time. Okay, I'm going to give you a few other dates here. I promised you to have lots of dates this month, and so far we're doing that. We did the 5th, we did the 9th, okay, 11th. The 19th, I alluded to this before, this is your new moon in Scorpio. We usually, unless there's a black moon like there was for Virgo this year, a black moon is the second new moon in a calendar month or sign. Unless there's that, we get one new moon in our sign each year, and this is yours. So this can be things you've been thinking about, trying to plant seeds for over the past 13 moons, and the seeds you plant now can deepen with their growth over the next 13 moons. It's a great time for setting intentions, planting seeds, new beginnings. The new beginnings that we sow now, just remember, keep in mind the retrograde things. It doesn't mean you can't plan for the future or intend for the future, or put some things in place that can grow in the future. Just keep the retrograde in mind. But that's really exciting. Now, all of the Scorpio friends can benefit from this, but those of you at the very end of the sign, so people like the October, well, let's see, it's at the end of the sign. So November 20th, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, you all in there may get more intensity from this new moon. Basically, the same people that I say should also listen to the Scorpio or the Sagittarius report. Those of you late degree friends, the later you are, the more you get the direct hit from this new moon. Also very exciting to know about this new moon, we have a simultaneous Mercury in Scorpio trine with Neptune in Pisces. So that is lighting up your house of your physical body and your house of romance, children, your bucket list, your talents, and expression of those talents. So you have an extra kiss at that time from that aspect, and that is featuring your sign as well. The 27th of November, Saturn's going direct. So in the midst of this retrograde type of time, you might see some things starting to blaze forward because of that have been long-term projects you've been working on, magically sort of gaining some steam. While some things shut down, other things will wake up, and the more you follow just the natural flow and stop trying to force the things that are shutting down, the happier you'll be. My favorite date of the whole month is November 26th. And if your birthday's around then, of course that's Sag time, but if you happen to be a Sag with Scorpio placements, anywhere near this, or you know someone, it's a really great aspect to have locked in for someone's birthday. But anyway, the 26th, Venus love, beauty, money, relationships, aesthetics, self-esteem, making a beautiful angle in here in Scorpio in your sign, going to make this beautiful angle with Jupiter in Cancer. So blessings with home, family, housing, blessings with immigration, teaching, learning, from the ninth house connection. Just a beautiful time that you may want to mark in your calendar. Now, don't forget to go to anniehelpsyou.com. Grab your free written star report with sweet and salty dates so you don't have to write all of this down. The welcome letter will show you the directions on how to get that, as well as give you all these freebies and my content early. If you want personalized reports from me, you resonate with my style, go to anniebclarity.com, Annie the letter B, clarity.com. And if you want to learn astrology on a deeper level, you will get mini astrology reports and access to my archives at anniehelpsyou.com. But if you want a comprehensive system to learn astrology, either for your own personal purposes or to earn money this way, I can definitely teach you how to do that. Go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com. I hope you have a wonderful month. And for those of you who have birthdays, happy birthday. And I will see you in the next report. Bye for now.